More construction projects are complete around the Disneyland Resort while we wait for the rest of Disneyland to catch up, including more bad news from Pixie Hollow, plus our first look from the ground at Muppet Courtyard at Hollywood Studios and Walt Disney World for our first look at what we can expect when Monsters, Inc. moves in. But first, let's get started at Disneyland on a busy, foggy morning. And that's the scene I found on this Friday morning as I began our construction report. Look at the crowds there, my goodness. They were coming in. Thank goodness for Toy Story parking lot on this day. I got to skip all that. And as we began our morning, as I always do, I check up on the front gates. We are now entering what I think is week 9 of no progress at all for the new gates. We are still on pause there. So we'll go ahead and enter the park. By the way, if you see cast there in the middle, go ahead and enter there. That is a viable entrance. Through the gates, so we can see, again, nothing happening on the backside of the gate walls there. Nor can we see, now that all those big projects are done, we can cast our gaze once more on that weird little project right here. I still have no idea what they're doing or why that's there or what its future is going to be. We'll go next to the Jungle Cruise with an update on the construction there of the Tiger scene. No visible progress that we can tell from this angle. We do know that the footings are good. The foundation is ready to rebuild the arch that goes over that Tiger, but nothing visible from the guest perspective. And we can also report that the Tiger is still turned off. He's been turned off. He's been non-animated for about a month now, it seems like. So he's not growling or moving at all still, which is to be expected. They're probably working back there and they have to turn off all the power. So that's not surprising. And then, as I mentioned, we really can't see anything that's happening with the scrim. That's where the actual work is. What's going on behind that scrim? We'll keep our eyes peeled, but no visible progress there. Also, nothing happening yet on this little scene I've been reporting on occasionally. I don't expect there to be anything. They're going to wait until they're done with the Tiger scene, at least before they even... Well, I don't even know if they're going to. That is, if they care. I don't know if they do, but if they did, certainly they would wait until they're done with the Tiger scene before they start working on that. But it does need some work. This scene is decayed. It is rotted throughout. We'll go next to Pixie Hollow. Take a quick peek over the wall. Well, hey guys, what you guys doing? Cast on the ground, or I should say construction workers on the ground doing something. Let's get on the Astro Orbiter. Yeah, so last week the base, the floor of the lagoon was like an orange peachish color. Now it's blue. So they're putting in that faux blue color down there, which is good. It's going to make it look more bright and vibrant, I'm sure. And that is also where we saw all those construction workers working. So that's the area of focus right now, which suggests that they are probably done with the rear side where the path, the queue leading up to the actual meet and greet on the other side of that big tree and the orb. Bad news for Pixie Hollow that I referenced in the intro is that this was supposed to be open complete by early October, and the date kept getting pushed back. And then finally it got pushed all the way to early January. It has now fallen off the calendar completely. The calendar goes up to January 18th as I record this, and it is still on that calendar. So the Pixie Hollow closure is indefinite, and I grow more and more curious about what could possibly be happening here that is causing this delay. It is now October, November, December, January, 4 months. 4 months behind schedule. That's not insignificant. That is not a small delay. That is I can't remember. Big Thunder. The last time I recall a delay of this length was Big Thunder when they installed I think it was the dynamite scene. Was it that refurb where it wound up taking 6 months longer than they thought it would? But this is not a roller coaster. It's just a meet and greet. Something's wrong at Pixie Hollow. I hope it's nothing bad. Speaking of Big Thunder, walls are still up. We got 1 week to go for this closure. It's supposed to reopen, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week. By the time I record this, it'll be a week away from construction. We were able to get some shots from around the scene, and I see there's construction workers, there's cast in there working in the queue area as we speak. In fact, I can even see some scaffolding in the queue there. So they whatever they're doing is or part of what they're doing is in that queue space. There is scaffolding in that queue space. Though I don't believe this to be anything that is guest facing. We won't notice whatever it is that they're doing when we get on the attraction when it reopens in a week. But I'll tell you what, this is When Big Thunder closes, you notice it when you walk around the attraction. It's quiet. There's just no the both the sound and the kinetics of that space reveal how much Big Thunder means to the aesthetic, the ambiance of Frontierland. It's just it's just so quiet. It's disconcerting. Not a fan when Big Thunder goes offline, and I will be very happy when it comes back. A new project is going to be entering the construction phase here in about a month, and that is the Jolly Holiday Bakery. It's going to be closed for a little while. This is something we mentioned a while back. We saw some permits filed, and what it sounded like was they're going to be doing some back-of-house work, plus updating the display cases, those glass cases where you see, the food being presented to you, where they keep the treats, etc. How long it'll be closed, I'm not sure. But it's funny because you don't really pay much attention to this, but when Jolly Holiday closes, we're going to notice that as well. The same way we notice Big Thunder closing, we're going to miss Jolly Holiday. It is such a delightful addition to those first moments when you walk through the park. When you enter, you go down Main Street, and then you see the Jolly Holiday on the left if you go in that direction. I'm not going to enjoy this place being closed for however long it takes. Hopefully it's not long. Hopefully it's just a couple weeks. But that will be, I think it starts on January 7th. Jolly Holiday will be going offline for a little while for some back-of-house work. We'll take the show over to the Pixar Pal Around in California Adventure to update you on a few things, just to get some more shots. One thing I noticed, we have an answer. I finally have an answer of what they're doing at Little Mermaid. The walls are still up. The attraction's open. The walls are still up. They're building an ADA ramp. That's what they've been doing. This whole time, I've been trying to figure out why those walls are up. I thought it might be new queue, like, building out more queue on the ground. But what they're building there, if you can hopefully tell, is that they're building an ADA ramp for guests. Well, that could be for entrance or exit. I'm not sure. But that's what that is, that they're building an ADA ramp. Quick peek at the site for what we think is going to be the Coco attraction. Obviously, we're going to only occasionally look. Nothing's happening. No movement there. Let's take a look backstage at Avengers Campus. The green tents are still there. All the vehicles are still there. No movement there. The things are going to start happening here probably in January is my guess. You may have heard that the red car trolley is going to be closing on February 8th. That'll be the last day that you can ride the red car trolley. The red car trolley is closing because they have to destroy the building in which they keep the red car trolley at night. It's backstage and behind the Avengers headquarters, behind Tower of Terror or Mission Breakout. That building is going to be destroyed in order for them to build the Avengers e-ticket back here. So the future of the red car trolley is in doubt for now. It's going to become more apparent as time passes. I don't think we can see from this angle where that trolley barn is, but we do have this image from the Fresh Baked Street Team. This is from William, who took this shot from one of the neighborhood hotels across the street. As I pointed out in our last week's video, there are hotels from which you can see, if you go to the top, the roof, where you can see backstage behind Mission Breakout and Avengers headquarters. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the building right there. That's the barn for the red car trolley. You can also see, while we're talking about it, there's a whole bunch of cherry pickers backstage. I don't know if that's a new development or not, because we can't really make those out when we look from the Pixar Pal Around. You don't really see anything like that. But from the opposite side, that's why we're getting a different angle here. From the opposite side, you can see a lot of staging that they're getting ready. So it's possible that those cherry pickers are, although I can't imagine why you would need them. That could just be parked. I'm going to hope to get some more footage or some other photos from hotels across the street to keep up with things on here. But I believe that is the case. We'll keep an eye out on things. That's the first thing to go. They haven't destroyed it yet because obviously the red car is still online. The day that they take the red car trolley offline could be the day that they start demoing that space. So we probably won't need to be riding the Pixar Pal Around until at least then. I think we're safe until February. Back on the ground, and I mentioned the Coco attraction. We talked about this in last week's video. I got some comments. Some people are suggesting that it's possible, or they've heard that Disney was going to put the Coco ride back in the Paradise Gardens area, Inside Out, Paradise Garden Grill, Boardwalk, Goofy Sky School. That whole space they're one of the predicted sites. And I understand why people might be compelled to believe that or think that. But to my thinking, I don't think it'll work for one primary reason. Well, actually two. These spaces, all this, all the sites that are considered eligible for removal aren't really continuous in the sense that you think they would be. There's huge spaces, for example, between Inside Out, Emotional Whirlwind, and even just Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, the rest of Paradise Garden. They're not connected. They don't make it continuous. You can't just add those pieces together and make up enough square footage, enough acreage to house the Coco attraction, which I expect to be about the size of the Little Mermaid building, at least. What you need for a site like that is more of a square. What this is kind of a sliver. It's a rectangle. It's a long rectangle, and perhaps if you did add all that up, it would be enough square footage, but it's not the right shape. You need something that's together enough to put that space back there. The only thing that would even approach that would be the corner with the Goofy Sky School, but you would need to consume the entire Paradise Garden for that. Goofy Sky School is not a big enough piece of real estate. It's a very small footprint. It's an attraction, but it's in a very small. That's the reason why they build attractions like that as little add-ons, because they don't require a lot of space. Modern building codes, though, require a lot of space for a ride like Coco. Secondarily, the whole point that Disney's trying to achieve here, the goal is to add capacity. The goal with Disneyland Forward, the goal with these new attractions, Avatar and all that, is to add capacity to the park. You don't achieve that by replacing existing attractions. Capacity is not added in that sense. You need to provide a new attraction in a new space. That's Disneyland Forward. Now, obviously, you can fit significantly more guests in a Coco attraction as you could in a Goofy Sky School attraction or Emotional Whirlwind, clearly. But those two spaces by themselves are not big enough, not nearly big enough to build an attraction like Coco in order to put that many guests. Goofy doesn't hold that many guests because of its size, because it's small. So I don't know how it's just logically it doesn't connect for me. Now, I'm not an expert, so I if I'm proven wrong on that, I will totally accept that. But to my way of thinking, you need a significantly larger space in order to build Coco. The space behind Incredicoaster and the Pixar Promenade, that space is big enough. Just barely, but it is big enough. And it's one continuous space. Okay, guys, if you'll allow me, let me take a quick break to remind you guys of our preferred travel partners, GetAwayToday. They are fans of our show, and we are fans of them. If you are planning a trip to the Disneyland Resort or to any Disney theme park or even to Universal or Alani or anything of that nature, make your travel arrangements through GetAwayToday. We love them. They are fantastic. They are the best in the business at making sure that you get everything you need out of a vacation at a Disneyland Resort or at the Disneyland Resort or Walt Disney World or anywhere you like. Knowledgeable, friendly, kind, and you'll probably get a good deal there. Use the link in our description for GetAwayToday. Let them know we sent you, and I hope you guys enjoy your trip. By the way, it was mentioned also Little Mermaid as a possibility. I don't think so, for the same reason as before. I don't think that they want to, because that's already a people eater. You haven't achieved anything by replacing Little Mermaid with Coco. You've made maybe possibly a better ride, possibly. It might be better, but you haven't added capacity, and Disney wants to add capacity. When they add capacity, they can sell more tickets. That's where the money is. The money is in new, not in replacing. That's a conversation we're going to get back to, actually, now that I think about it, with regard to what's happening at Hollywood Studios and the Muppet Courtyard, where they are replacing. But that situation is considerably different. Stay tuned for that later. Keep the conversation moving, going to Cars Land and the Cozy Cones, where we'll check in on the status of what's happening with the Cozy Cones ordering station and actually the Cozy Cone lobby building, which we'll get into in a second. But it looks like, sort of a slow progress happening here. They haven't really moved forward. They're still, in fact, bare wood up there on that awning. But something I just noticed, they've covered the windows in the lobby here. Those windows are covered. What does that mean? The windows were open last week. Here's the status from the other side for what we're expecting to be a point of sale kiosk there, a new single point of sale. And then from the opposite side there again is that bare wood that's still at the awning. And again, those windows are covered now. I don't remember if that's normal or not. I haven't really had cause to pay attention to if and when those windows are covered, when you cannot see in. Normally you can see in there, right? Almost always you can see in there and see whatever's happening inside the lobby. I'm going to be curious to see what that means. For now, we'll get on the monorail, not to look at the downtown Disney work at Parkside Market, but to see what we can see from Earl of Sandwich. We mentioned right there where they're going to be building Earl of Sandwich in that space right there. I don't know how clean, how good this view won't be useful for a little while because not until they go vertical. But luckily, again, the Fresh Baked Street Team was there for us. These images are courtesy of Douglas, who shared this video from the downtown Disney, I'm sorry, from the Disneyland Hotel. And there you can see that's the Earl of Sandwich site right here. And where you can see they are absolutely working on foundation and subterranean, plumbing and all that stuff. You can see that the trenches are dug. They're getting ready to build the initial plumbing and probably conduit, etc., for electric and that kind of thing. So they are definitely, we are a go. This is exciting. This is our first visual confirmation in quite a while. We've seen where the permits were okayed and they're ready to proceed, but this is our first visual confirmation that the Earl of Sandwich site is a go, that they are making forward progress here. And I would say it's going to be probably a month or two, and we'll start seeing some sort of vertical construction here, based on what we've seen historically on how long it takes to get from the dirt phase and the trench phase to vertical. We're about a month or two away. That's exciting. The Earl of Sandwich building is sort of the key to a lot of different projects happening. Well, I should say one other big project that's happening, and that's Portos, which we'll talk about again in a minute. But there's the current status of Parkside Market. They are very close to finishing here. You got guys going in there into the upstairs dining area and the bar. The lights are on. That's fully developed in there upstairs, I believe. They are very far along there. The Sip and Sonder, probably a mobile order pickup perhaps. Window there looks about done. All the signage is up. Signage is up. That's a good sign. I think those are guys sitting at the tables. I'm pretty sure those guys they may even be having lunch. Who knows? But they're sitting at the tables that have been installed there at Parkside. Here's from the opposite side, and it looks really, really good. I'm really enjoying how this building has come along. It looks great. Even better is next door, or I should say two of the retail locations are open. Avengers Reserve and the D-Landers. This is Avengers Reserve opened on this day publicly, December 6th, and let's take a look. For example, here's that Hulk sculpture that we had been talking about in the past. We've heard about it, but it's been behind walls, so we couldn't see it, but there it is. It's great picture spot. Guys, people are they're lining up to get their picture taken in front of the Hulk. Let's go inside. A lot of hanging sculptures also. They're right at the start. You see Captain Marvel, top right. The store has a very, I don't know how to call this. I enjoy it. It's good for Marvel. It's good for this type of location. It's not exactly a warehouse. It reminds me of the comic shop actually at Universal City Walk. T-shirts, which by the way I enjoyed. That's a cool shop. I like that shop. These are inflatable Captain America shields and Hulk fist and Thor hammer. Those are inflatable. You can wear them. You can wear the Hulk fist and punch things with it. Deadpool and Wolverine hats, etc. There's lots of sections. Oh, there's Spider-Gwen up there. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy section, and that's how it's set up. There's a lot of individual sections like that. X-Men. These are some high-end figurines there. That's Magneto, obviously very retro version of Magneto, which I dig. Look at that. They're great. They have made a figurine out of the infamous Wolverine meme. That meme right there. They've made they made a figurine. That's fantastic. That might be my favorite thing. Maybe my second favorite thing actually in this shop. I'll show you my favorite here in a minute. Captain America. Let's see. That's Spider-Man. And then over there on the right again is Spider-Gwen. Black Panther and Doctor Strange. You can buy a Doctor Strange cloak. That's pretty cool. And there's another figurine of Doctor Strange. These are great. And they're comic based, not film based, not MCU based, which is great. There again is Captain Marvel. They have 2 PlayStation 5 set up, so you can test out some Marvel games. This, I believe, is Spider-Man that they're playing. Got some comic books. Not a wide array of comic books, but they are there. I wouldn't buy comic books from here myself because who knows what's going to happen to that book between here and there before you get it home. But if you are, jonesing for one, oh, look at that Green Goblin mask. That is terrific. That looks great. They're calling it the Green Goblin from No Way Home. But I mean, come on. It's This is my favorite right there. The Daredevil cowl. That's my favorite piece. You don't see a lot of that, and that's a great, put that in your bookcase piece. Cast members said that they sold out of those almost immediately, and they had to replenish the inventory quickly. Some more great figurines there. Thor and Hulk. A+ from Avengers Reserve. Let's take a look next at its neighboring gift shop, the D-Lander shop. I want to call it D-Landers, but it's the D-Lander shop. This is a kind of a boutique style gift shop with a lot of third-party labels, not Disney labels per se, although Disney does routinely sell a lot of the brands that you find in here. Beautiful looking shop. This really looks nice. That merch, look at that. That's cute. Yeah, brands like Dooney and Burke, Vera Wang, Lululemon. I saw people wearing these, that green and white sweatshirt on the right. I'm like, where did they get that? I saw them in the park. Where did they get that? Here you go. Here's some more Rebecca Hook. Chrisloo. Never heard of these brands, but I don't know jewelry. Loungefly, of course. Disney sells Loungefly routinely. That bucket hat is cute. I could see myself wearing some of this stuff. This is really good. Her Universe. I love Her Universe. And that is some really good looking merch right there. Unique as well. Very unique. They even had a little themed section like you might find at the dress shop. This is a Beauty and the Beast or Belle section. Everything here tailored specifically to Belle. This is one of the few spots, though, where you might find more generic merch. Very rare in here. Even a Beauty and the Beast or a Belle coffee mug. Outstanding. Here's one. I never heard of this one. What goes around comes around. Apparently what's going around is incredibly expensive merchandise. Thousands of dollars. Wow. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I am low-key kind of impressed with both of those stores. The Avengers Reserve store looks really cool. A lot of really interesting merch in there. Stuff that I would actually consider buying. The Daredevil cowl is great, but I was even more low-key impressed with D-Lander. That's some good-looking merch in there. That's some good-looking merch. I can see myself spending a little bit of money in there. Well done, Disney. This actually, I can't, guys. I have, I've been thinking in my head, what are they going to do? This is, how good could it be? Everything that they've been doing here at Downtown Disney has been better than I thought it was going to be. I had low expectations, and they've met those and beat it. This side of Downtown Disney is great. It's really, really great. I cannot believe we're here. And it's, and soon Parkside Market, that'll be open too. Now, I'm sure the food is going to be good. It's going to be a great vibe. That's next. And now with those shops opening, it brings to mind, like, what is the future of the shop like the Star Wars Trading Post? Do they have a plan for this? Because it's well themed. I guess it fits pretty much with the sort of, the Star Wars aesthetic, but it's not a very optimal use of this building. You go inside the Trading Post and it very quickly dead ends at the back. It's not using even, I would say maybe not even a sixth of the total building size. We're talking 10%, 15% of the total building size. The back of that shop is just on the other side of that tree about, if you go back. In fact, we'll go to the other side. This tree here in the middle of your frame, all that to the left of that tree basically is unused, including the second floor. So it's an enormous building that is only being occupied maybe 15% occupied. That's my guess. Again, I could be wrong, but that's just how it looks to me. So I'm wondering if they have a plan for that. Meanwhile, through all this updating of Downtown Disney, and it's been great, through all this updating of Downtown Disney, how has the ESPN zone survived? It's a total mystery to me. This big giant building is just an eyesore now at this point with what's going on with the rest of the land, or the space. Everything is going mid-century modern. That building is the literal opposite of mid-century modern. It is the most not mid-century modern building that I've ever seen. So how is it still here? I hope they have a plan for this, because an empty building is better. An empty space, I think, is better than this building, in my opinion. It's kind of like the back lot. You know what? Let me just elaborate on that previous point just a little bit. low bar, low expectations. I figured that the Avengers Reserve was going to be, I'm impressed with the merchandise because I thought it was going to be just the same stuff you find at the Avengers Vault and Avengers Campus or just an indie gift shop here in the park. D-Lander, I'm thinking dress shop type stuff. But, in both cases, those stores, I haven't seen most of the merch that I saw in there anywhere else in the park. That's the part that is impressing me. Not so much the stores are nice, they're fine. And, but it's the merch that I'm impressed with. It's the merch that I really can't believe that they're not just doing generic stuff like they always do. I was expecting more of the same, which is because that's what Disney does. You can buy bubble wands. Not a bubble wand in sight back there. So good going. I hope they can stick to this. I hope that they can. I feel like it's necessary. It's good business to have land-specific merch. It's good business to have area-specific merch. And it's good business to have merch that you can only buy back there at Avengers Reserve and the D-Lander shop. I think that's good business. Nothing new to report from Tortilla Joe's. It looks exactly as we have seen it look for the past couple months. No progress, no demo, no refurb happening here. Nothing is happening. As if to prove my point, I just went into the dress shop and I didn't see a single piece of merchandise in that shop that I saw at D-Landers. I didn't see any. Maybe that red velvety sweatshirt. That's about it. But no, nothing. It's great. That's generic. That's what I was expecting, was more of that. And then lastly, from Downtown Disney, no visible progress at Marceline's, which actually isn't Marceline's anymore. Soon to be Disney's Wonderful World of Sweets. This is supposed to be opening in winter. They have said only winter of 2000. Well, they didn't say after next year. They just said winter. So we could be waiting until January for this to open. And finally, I teased Porto's. I think Porto's construction or even demo is going to wait until they make significant progress on the Earl of Sandwich building at the back end of Downtown Disney. So I feel like this site is going to stay here. We won't see any action here for probably maybe another 6 or 12 months is my guess. Let's now give a quick recap of the refurb calendar as it exists today. We'll start with the Disneyland story presenting great moments with Mr. Lincoln. As you know, we've been waiting for the Walt Disney edition, the animatronic, to be added to that theater. It's been closed for quite a while. We've been waiting for the update. You may have heard that Disney has confirmed that it's going to open. The Walt Disney Animatronic Show will open with the beginning of the 70th anniversary. That's May 16th. I was hoping that it would be online for January when the year started, but it sounds like they're not starting this party until May 16th, and that will be the first day that we'll get to see the Lincoln Show, or I should say the Walt Disney Show. So I'm expecting, I guess, the theater to be closed for that time. Although it would seem nice if they could give us Lincoln back while we wait for it, but we'll keep our eyes open for that. But it will have been a year. It will have been a year that theater has been closed by the time they reopen it. But look for that, May 16th. As we mentioned, Big Thunder is still closed. It's going to reopen on December 13th. Pixie Hollow, open-ended. We don't even know. We have no idea now when this place is going to reopen. The Jolly Holiday Bakery, we talked about that earlier. It's going to close on January 7th. That'll be the last day to enjoy the Jolly Holiday. Haunted Mansion is closing on January 7th also, or that's the last day you can ride. Or I should say, I'm sorry, it'll be closed on January 7th. It'll be down for 10 days. That's standard. That's typical. That's when we take down Haunted Mansion Holiday, and it goes back to classic Haunted Mansion, which it will have been more than a year. It will have been about, 16 months? 16 months since we've seen classic Haunted Mansion. I'm actually really hyped for that. And Grizzly River Run is closing on January 6th. We don't have yet a reopening date, so it's at least a couple weeks. This is at DCA. Grizzly River Run closing on January 6th. Or Inside Out, Emotional Whirlwind, also closing on January 6th. Now, the refurb calendar doesn't show it, but as we mentioned earlier, finally, Red Car Trolley, per Disney, the last day to ride is February 8th. February 8th is the last day to ride the Red Car Trolley, and they haven't said it's closed forever, but it probably is closed forever if we assume that in the future they're going to be re-theming the Hollywood Backlot and Hollywood Boulevard. With that, let's jump to the East Coast, to Walt Disney World and Hollywood Studios, where our man on the scene, Laramie Williams, who is providing footage and coverage of Walt Disney World today on our sister channel, Fresh Baked WDW. There's a link in the description for that as well. He did a wonderful commentary on a tour of the Muppet Courtyard at Hollywood Studios, giving his thoughts on what's going to be happening with that space in the near future. Well, how near future that is, who can say? I'm not sure when that'll start, but he took a tour of the Muppet Courtyard and Muppet Vision and all that around there, and had some insightful commentary. But let me just, I'll add a couple things here, or I'll include some of the bigger references that he made. The plan here is not for a total demo of, at least according to the concept art, the plan is not to do a total demo of the site, but they're actually going to be reskinning most of these buildings. They're going to be repurposing the buildings. Muppet Vision 3D, Pizza Rizzo, the gift shop, all that. The new attraction that they're building, the hanging door attraction that we've seen in the concept art, is actually going to go in the rear of it's going to go backstage. You have to go all the way past to the back where the green doors are, and on the other side of the gift shop that's back there. That's the new stuff. So they're going to build a new attraction there. We don't yet know, in terms of what kind of restaurants or gift shops. Well, actually, we do know one restaurant, Harryhausen's. They are going to build a Harryhausen, which I would assume is going to be sushi or something to that effect, because that's what Harryhausen's is in the film. And we have a pretty good idea of where it's going to go, right here next to these gates at the back end of Muppet Courtyard. Those are the gates that you use, or you would. Behind that is where they're going to be building the hanging door coaster. But before you go through there, Harryhausen's probably here. It's Mama Melrose's, I think. I think they're going to repurpose Mama Melrose's and repurpose Pizza Rizzo. Not sure what that's going to be. And then obviously, as we mentioned initially, they're going to repurpose Muppet Vision 3D. That show will be ending. I have a pretty good guess. I think Muppet Vision 3D is going to become the home for another show. They're going to keep it a theater, and I think it's going to be, I think it would be cute. It would be great if they turned it into, put that thing back where it came from, or So Help Me. It seems the most logical thing that they could possibly do here. I hope they do, because I always enjoyed that little bit in Monsters, Inc. I'm a Monsters, Inc. fan, and I always enjoyed that, and I hope that is what they wind up doing. But those are just some of the big points that we'll be looking out for at the evolution of the Muppet Courtyard. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked WDW for more commentary on that. And then we'll also, and for more footage, hopefully, construction footage. Although I'm not sure if there's any place high enough to see what they're doing back there once they put the walls up. But we'll keep an eye on things. Laramie will be there on site to cover this construction in the same way that I have covered all the construction here at Disneyland. Look forward to that if you're a fan of Walt Disney World. And with that, that's our show, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this very insightful. We love bringing these shows to you. If you like the show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Also, join our newsletter. There's a link in the description below for more updates and strategies, etc., from the Disneyland Resort. And as we mentioned earlier, please do consider using GetAwayToday as your travel partner. They are our travel partner, and we would like them to be yours as well. Link in the description for that. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. Till next time, guys, thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.